Let's do another round of sleepers next on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Welcome to FFT in 5. I'm Chris Towers. I'm here with Heath Cummings. We're talking about sleepers again. We're about 5 weeks away from the start of the NFL season. And look, whatever your definition of sleepers is, it's just a way to talk about undervalued players, right? That's the way we look at that question, right, Heath?
Yeah, I think it's almost as complicated as correctly grammatically saying whatever your definition of sleepers is.
That took me a second to figure out what you meant. Yeah. I think when we did a sleepers column last week or the last couple of weeks with everyone, I did it on the Fantasy Football Today newsletter. And I defined it as anyone with an ADP outside of the top 100, just to give myself an easy definition to work with. And Heath, it sounds like when we were talking before the show, that's the definition you're going to go with. I'm going to go with one deep sleeper to kick us off, and that is Lions tight end Sam Laporta. We're getting a lot of hype about Dalton Kincaid in training camp. I would imagine he's going to push into or around the top 12 tight ends in ADP based on the way the training camp hype has gone lately. But I still really like Sam Laporta. He might be, maybe the second among the rookie tight ends for 2023. And look, rookies very rarely make an impact in fantasy. However, Laporta does seem well situated to have an opportunity, at least. Jameson Williams suspended for the first 6 games of the season. I think Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are going to have a role in the passing game, but there's a clear opportunity for a second option in that passing game. Sam Laporta was a productive tight end in college who is pretty athletic. I think he's got a chance. Not someone that if I'm going into my draft with one tight end in mind, Sam Laporta is going to be the guy. But if I'm taking 2, I'm probably going to use a very late round pick on Sam Laporta, Lions tight end. Heath, hit me with some of your sleeper candidates.
I'll go with another rookie, and it's this guy. Everybody will say doesn't qualify as a sleeper because everyone's been talking about being excited about him. But Anthony Richardson's still being drafted outside of the top 100. He's still, on some sites, being drafted outside of the top 15 quarterbacks. And I just think that's nonsense. If he starts week 1, he should be expected to be a top 10 quarterback this year. Justin Fields showed us last year. Jalen Hurts showed us his rookie year. Lamar Jackson even kind of showed us his rookie year. It doesn't really matter if you can throw, if you're a quarterback who could run for 1,000 yards. And Anthony Richardson has a coach, and his brand new head coach, who was the offensive coordinator the last 2 years for Jalen Hurts. Hurts ran the ball 10 times per game in those 2 seasons. Richardson is a better athlete and a better runner than Jalen Hurts. He could absolutely be a top 3 or 4 fantasy quarterback this year if he can just be passable as a passer.
And I believe on Tuesday at Colts training camp, Anthony Richardson got all the first team reps. He's been, splitting with Gardner Minshew a lot, but they are going to give him a real opportunity to open the season as the starter. It's a question of whether he'll be good enough to earn that job. And early returns are mixed from people watching Colts camp. But yeah, if he's 17th in QB ADP over the last 2 weeks at NFC, I think that makes him a perfect sleeper and someone. If you take Patrick Mahomes, you probably shouldn't take Anthony Richardson, although the upside's high enough that it might be worth it anyway. But if you're shopping more in the Tua Tagovailoa, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins range for your starter, Anthony Richardson is a perfect 10th round pick to go alongside those guys. Who's another sleeper for you, Heath?
It's Samaje Perine, and his ADP's been too low even when people didn't expect Javonte Williams to be 100% at the start of the year. Now that Javonte Williams is basically taking no days off, running on the days that are supposed to be his prescribed days off, and all system go, no restrictions for the Broncos, I think we'll really see Perine's ADP fall even further. I do expect that even if Javonte Williams is 100%, this is going to be a near even split in Denver. Williams has never been a full-time feature back. Coming off of an ACL, I do not believe this will be the time that changes. So I like Perine as a high-end flex, a top 30 running back for me. I do believe it's possible that both he and Javonte Williams can be startable in leagues where you start 2 running backs in a flex.
There is a lot of precedent for that in the Sean Payton offense as well. You look back at New Orleans, it wasn't just the Alvin Kamara years, but they usually had multiple fantasy viable running backs in that offense. They were usually top 5 in fantasy points produced for running backs as well. We'll see if this offense can reach those heights, if Russell Wilson can bounce back. But yeah, I like the call there. And one more sleeper from you.
Let's pick a Texans wide receiver. I'm going to pick Nico Collins. I like Tank Dell a lot though as well. And CJ Stroud actually requested him. So maybe that's where it will be. It'll be Tank Dell. But Nico Collins, the most likely Texans wide receiver to be the number 1 option. I think that they are going to be not good, but slightly better than expected. Definitely, Stroud definitely a better passer than Davis Mills. And Collins has an opportunity to see 120 targets and be a number 3 wide receiver this year.
Yeah, that's I like John Mechie, who's back at camp after his leukemia diagnosis last offseason, missed his rookie season, but he was cleared. He's a full go, it looks like, at training camp. So, like you said, Tank Dell, John Mechie, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, if you're looking for a low-end starting tight end also. I think all of those guys make sense in that offense. It's a bet on CJ Stroud and a bet on that offense taking a big step forward. They've all got the opportunity. And that's going to do it for FFT and 5. We'll be back tomorrow to talk breakouts. We'll see you then.